Let's talk about the robot ump.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun computer modeling a robot umpire, and like we did a couple versions. There's the Jetsons version, and
so good.
I had a lot of fun.
They were all good, but I think we went with the best one.
But I really want to drive this home. Like, even though you and I disagree a little bit about technology, we completely agree that removing the humanity from the game is a huge, huge mistake. Let's talk about famous arguments between the umpires and the managers. Like, I've seen videos of guys just going all out, you know, with the dirt on the shoes and taking bases, and just they've already been thrown out of the game. And I mean, I don't know how you can't say that isn't entertaining. But at the same time, look, I'm going to make a counter argument why I want to reserve my I don't want to boo the umpire. I want to boo the opposing team. In fact, let me tell you a story.
That's so funny to me.
The one and only time that I've really lost my voice, like just couldn't talk the next day, was a Giants-Dodgers game. And we had good seats.
What a great time to lose your voice.
It was a close game. And Dodgers had this just lights out closer, Eric Gagne.
Yeah, I remember.
And this guy he was just lights out that year that he was playing. So maybe it was the next year after his really amazing year.
Unhittable type shit. Yeah.
Just lights out every single time. And it was a really close game. It was coming down to the wire. You know, it was late in the season. I think they brought him in the 8th inning. Normally this guy's just 9-inning guy. You never see him. Never see him. This was like a playoff style move that the Dodgers were pulling because it was a close game.
All hands on deck.
Yeah. And they used to play music at Dodger Stadium. I would watch it on TV and just get so angry in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Good,
like we're gonna
angry,
get him. Like we're gonna get him this time.
And I'm at the game and I've got good seats. And he's
in LA.
No.
Oh,
this is in San Francisco.
Okay.
And he comes in the 8th. And so they had all this music at Dodger Stadium, and they would be like, game over. And they would do all these like graphics. And the guys in LA would go crazy for it. And I would just look at that and just vomit and be like, you got off. He comes to San Francisco.
Rivalry.
And he had been to San Francisco many times and pitched he'd closed out a lot of games. Mm-hmm. I think I'd watched a few of them. But this time, in this close game late in the season, he comes in. And I think the Giants get a walk and 3 hits off of him. And I start yelling, game over, Gagne. So loud. I know he could hear me. My whole section just started doing it too. I just, game over, Gagne.
He blew it. He
blew the save. And I loved to hate that guy because he was such a great ball player. And we beat him that day, and I was there, and that was one of my best memories.
Yeah, you got some good games under your belt. That's a good one. Yeah, I mean,
I could not speak the next day. I was completely hoarse for like a week.
I got a question. I got to get to the bottom of this. You seem to have put up a fence against this, and I'm so curious why. Why do you say you don't want to boo the ump or you hate to? What part of your fanship believes that shouldn't be part of the game? I don't understand.
Well, I'm not obsessed with what actually happened, but I do want the game to feel fair. Fairness is important.
Fairness.
I don't want, and it's important for the kids. I really think that if you want to get people, civilization is defined. One of the pillars of civilization is that we're trying to make the world more fair.
Yes.
We're trying to eliminate racism. We're trying to eliminate poverty. We're trying to eliminate hunger. We're trying to make the world more fair. And look, when Jackie Robinson, first played, this was a huge moment for America. They write books about this to this day, and
make movies.
If a kid feels like the game isn't fair, if they feel like an umpire has got it out for him, he's not calling you right because he doesn't like your dad, or even if that's not true, but if you feel that could be true, then that's a reason to go play a different sport that feels more like you've got a fair level playing field.
I guess I just don't feel like the umpire having it out for you is as common as you think it is. And I think we differ there. I feel like
we're coming off a 2021 season of baseball where it ended on a very sour note.
No, that's interesting. Okay, so in your professional esteemed opinion, you believe, I think this is what I'm hearing. You believe that the umpires had a reason to move the Dodgers on to the next series, and they called the game in favor of that to kind of make it more likely that the Dodgers moved on opposed to the Giants.
People who follow baseball know that it's better for baseball when the big market teams get to the playoffs. Right now, the owners are trying to expand the playoffs so that more teams make it. And what they really want are the big market teams to make it because they make so much money off these TV contracts.
So it sounds like you're agreeing with my statement. You believe that the umpires didn't just call the game the way they saw it. They called it more in favor of the Dodgers so that the Dodgers were more likely to move on. Would you agree with that?
The umpires are part of the game, and they realize whether it's consciously or subconsciously, they know that when the Dodgers go to the playoffs, it's good for the game.
Okay. Do you think they were told to do that, or they just kind of...
No, you don't need to tell them. Everyone knows that,
we're getting
that
to
when the big market
this.
teams make the playoffs, the game makes more money. That is not a secret.
Okay. So you believe that the umpires are unable to make the fair calls.
I just believe that they're intelligent enough to know what is good for the game from a certain point of view. From a money point of view.
So how are you going to switch this and keep the humanity in the game?
You can never, ever eliminate all the bias and keep the humanity, but we can give people better tools to take a second look at that, to get something right. Like, actually, my line of sight was blocked on that. Let's go to the other camera. Instantly. Instant replay should be instant. It should not take 5 minutes. That's the problem. It should take 2 seconds at most.
Okay, so that's kind of your threshold line.
Within 2 seconds. I had to come up with a number off the top of my head.
Right.
But it should be instant. This is a big deal. Okay. Instant replay should be instant.
Okay, see, if I'm in a position, this is how I would like it. If an umpire feels like their vision was blocked, they got other umpires on the field to ask, and then they can make a decision on that play, retaining the humanity. But that's the thing is, I've seen games get delayed with no replay where they talk about a call for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Very rare would that happen.
It's because they're calling it into New York.
No, before that. Before replay or all that. This is like old days. Like I saw...
where they had the conference?
Yeah, I saw a guy hit it over the left field foul pole for a home run, and they couldn't tell if it was fair or foul.
Who saw it?
So they talked about it.
They were trying to get it right. They were trying to make it fair. Right. So in that sense, you're taking the drama out of it, but they're trying to get it right.
Well, there wasn't an umpire that was willing to say, "I had the best view. I know what happened." So they had the conference for a while.
Close.
It was that close.
Day.
Right. And I don't remember if they gave him the home run or if they didn't and they called it a foul, or you know what they might have done, but I kind of doubt it. They're like, I think it's in the middle. We'll go ground rule double.
You can't do that.
No, I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can do that.
That's like a tie game in baseball. You cannot call it ground rule. You
know what
you do?
Bounce over it. Yeah, you can't do it.
If you're split, it's a home run. Give it to the kid.
It's close enough.
As a pitcher, give it to the batter. I'm telling you. From a pitcher's point of view.
Like if he shit on it that hard.
Yes. And no one, everyone's like,
it might have been fair, might have been foul.
You can't tell. It was like, inches. Okay, it's a home run.
It's like, well, he got me. 430 down left field line.
Yeah. When you're making up the foul lines in the street, in your backyard, wherever you're playing wiffle ball when you're a kid, you did it. I did it every day during baseball season, like every day. And the foul lines are fungible. It's a tree. It's a rock. And it extends from wherever you put.
Can be a car as well.
From when you put the mitt on the ground. Yeah, we had cars. Yeah, we had cars. Because that was the problem with our ballpark. There was the cars. We had to move around a lot of times.
Well, you could also say if you hit that car, it's an out, even though it was in the middle of the field.
We lived in a really hilly area. There was no flat ground, so we were always trying to find a place to play ball, and we would use a rag ball. Like this is ball made out of rags.
Yeah.
And yet one of our neighbors would be like, "Don't play ball around my car." I'm like, "Here, it's a rag ball.
I don't care.
Yeah. Get out of here.
Seriously, hold it." No, I don't want to.
And so we have to go find another place to play ball. And it was just, we lived in a really hilly area.
Well, you just created such a great segue for my next question, which is, Another thing that was touched on in season 1 is that I don't believe a field needs to be 100% flat.
This up.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Let's talk about that bump. Let's talk about the bump. And because I'm going to make the argument that they needed to get rid of it. Because, yeah, you're not going to like this.
Okay. So
I'm a center fielder. I'm a right fielder. And I'm going all out. I am running my heart out. And in my peripheral vision, I see the wall. And I know I'm not close to it. And I'm running as hard as I can. As fast as I can. I'm going to catch this ball.
Towards center field.
And I dive.
Okay.
And I hit a bump and break my arm.
Now, what do you mean bump? Are we talking about Enron Field? Are we talking about...
Yeah, we're talking about the bump in Enron in center field.
There. It was more of a hill than a bump.
Look, I love the idea that ballparks should be unique and different.
Okay.
But I don't want the center fielder to think, oh, am I close to the bump?
Why not?
Should I dive or not? Because
it's there. Why not?
Because I don't want to see anyone get hurt. And I know that people will get hurt in baseball, but I don't want to see them get hurt because they kind of forgot. They went back to their instincts of the way that they were playing the game as a kid, and they forgot they were at Enron Field and there's this bump out there. Okay,
so I believe you answered my question circuitously. So the question was, do you believe a field needs to be 100% flat? And I believe you were saying yes.
I don't. Well, no, I don't think it needs to be 100% flat, but that bump was very abrupt. It was just, it was flat, and then all of a sudden there was a bump.
Okay.
And yes, there was dirt, and you should know that it was there. But the idea that let's say Willie Mays broke his face on the bump because he was playing his heart out and forgot he was at fucking Enron Field.
Yeah.
It just, I have this like fake empathy for this thing that never happened. But, but here's the thing. I want barks. They don't have to be flat, but you just can't have the bump be so abrupt. Like, let's talk about how many fields did you play on that had a big dip in the middle? I mean, like, I remember soggy right field, soggy left field. Like every field I ever played on tilted one way or another. And there was nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
You and I talked about how we can make ballparks more unique. I was talking about, hey, what about really tall grass in the corners?
Yeah.
Like, why not just have tall weeds out there like some dandelions? I don't know.
I'm open to it. You don't want to cross the line of professionalism, but it's a thought, having a little patch out there where the grass grew out longer. I think there's interest just knowing it's there.
It'd slow it down. It'd be a weird thing, but it would be unique to that park.
Just knowing it's there, I think makes it interesting.
Slope. A gentle slope is
more
fine
gentle.
too.
Well, I mean, the hill in Enron wasn't that extreme. You can see
just all of a sudden, just there it is.
Yeah,
it was
on
as
a level
extreme as you can get, and there was a pole in the middle of it that said "hurt me"
at the top. No,
it just was an injury pole. Like, hey guys,
no, you'd have to be. See, the thing was that it was at the very top of the hill, so you'd have to run uphill this hill and then run into it and knock yourself out. And I'm thinking, a player of Willie Mays' caliber, he knows the hill's there. He's gonna know how to play that position as good as anyone, I would guess.
Yeah. How many times did somebody play it off the bump? Because that would be dope.
I know. I can really only think of one highlight I saw. I want to say it was Beltran was out there. He could have been hitting it, but he ran up it, and I think he made the catch. So the thing that I like about it is that at the time, Tiger Stadium was already gone. So at the time, I believe, unless maybe Florida's center field was still there because they were at 434, but at the time, Enron had one of the deepest, if not the deepest center field, 430 feet. So this hill probably started at about the 415 mark and then started to go up. So this hill involved itself in very, very, very few games. But the fact that it was there made the ballpark play different. Because there was that what if.
Yeah.
To me, that what if is very interesting. And it doesn't seem unfair or an injury hazard because, it's not like a foul pole or a flagpole in the middle of center field. It's like it's so tucked that if it just so happens to hit that once a year at the very, very, very most, that's interesting to me.
It is. It is interesting.
But it's also interesting to me that you seem to be taking a position of non-injury, protection-wise, and which leads me to my next question, asking you about the bullpens. What do you think about bullpens in the foul grounds, or would you rather have them not anywhere on the playing surface?
I love the idea of the bullpens being right next to the crowd.
Okay.
So one of the best things about baseball
People
is
have hurt themselves on those bumps.
we're going to talk about
mounds.
that real quick here.
Okay.
So, but one of the best things about baseball is you can sit, down one of the lines, and you get an opportunity to get right there and watch the bullpen.
I love it.
It's as a pitcher, it was one of my favorite things. And so you're sitting on one side, you're heckling the other team. You're sitting on the other side. By the way, when I went hoarse yelling at Gagne, I already got started.
Great.
We were on the Dodger side.
Well done.
Yeah. So a player hurt himself on the bump. The bullpen bump, and he sued the team. And you brought that up in season 1.
Yeah.
And I believe he won that case.
Yeah, I don't.
And they moved the bullpens.
And they moved the bullpens.
Yeah. So my solution to this problem is more technology. You have an inflatable bump, and when the ball's in play, you just deflate the mound. It seems really easy to me, but
this is real.
I mean, this is real in my mind.
Okay, so you're not being facetious.
No, I want to keep the bullpen there, but I want to reduce the injury with technology.
Okay. I wonder how many people have hurt themselves on this Foul Grounds bullpen. I think it's very rare.
Well, one of the beautiful things about baseball and why I love it so much is it's a sport where the least amount of injuries happen comparatively to like basketball and football, of course.
Okay.
Hockey, where they have sanctioned fighting. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I love baseball is that you can win with your mind. And
you're a gamer,
and you're not trying to hurt the other guy, and that's why I don't like to see guys throw at each other for more than one game or 2 games or a series or whatever.
Okay.
And so the number of careers that have been ended by people playing so hard, running so hard from the outfield to catch a ball and hitting this thing and breaking their legs, blowing out their knees. It's
too many.
It's why they moved it. It's too many, and nobody wants to see that, because for every major leaguer that it happened to, there's so many kids and minor leaguers and college guys, who maybe the injury was just too much for them, and not everyone has the resolve to rehab from like blown out knee. It takes a year.
All right, so let me round up this thinking here. You would prefer that the bullpens stay close to the fans, so there's fan involvement.
Right.
But you only want them to stay if we can reduce injuries and create something of the realm of inflatable, deflatable, keep it the same plane. If we can't come up with that technology, then let's move the bullpens to an area that's not on the playing field. Is this about accurate?
I would probably side with keep them where they are. Don't move them. And start developing the technology and see how long that's going to take. I mean, but we're talking about a bag of air, covered with some surface that resembles dirt.
But it sounds
like a solvable problem.
It sounds like a spiked cleat could run over this rubberized air thing and catch itself where it wouldn't have been.
Let's call it a bladder.
A bladder. Okay. Wouldn't have got caught on the dirt, but it gets caught on the bladder.
Well, that's another problem we got to solve. Well, you
twisted my ankle on this stupid bladder.
You can never completely. Well, I think what you're trying to say is the rubber's still going to be there, and that's still going to be a thing that they could trip on. And I acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And I think that look, you're playing a sport. There is a risk of injury.
Correct.
But let's see if we can reduce it in a reasonable way, because now you get the best of both worlds. You get to see the guy lay it out, and you get to watch the reliever warm up.
No, I'm totally open to this. I just have a feeling that if you're a professional and you play the outfield, each park you go to, you need to know your surroundings. That's part of being a great outfielder, and creating a new surface that can deflate might be every bit or possibly more dangerous than if they would have just had a sense of awareness of where they were playing.
Okay, so when the ball's in play,
most outfielders don't get hurt on that bullpen.
As a guy who's pitch relief, when the ball is in play, you and your catcher both move all the way to the wall. That's what happens. Every time the ball is in play, you move to the wall.
Oh, okay.
Right? When the ball gets hit out of let's say hit out of the infield, you move to the wall.
Okay.
When you hear the crack of the bat, you just move left or right, depending on which side you are. And it'd just be real easy to hit a button and just the mound's gone. I'm not saying this will eliminate all injuries. I'm just saying, why not?
No, it's an interesting thought.
Why not?
I just have a feeling when you try to solve something with it. It's like a invasive species. Like you introduce a new bug that can kill this invasive species, and then this bug wreaks havoc on something
we got to
didn't
test it
think
out in the
of.
minor leagues first. We got to test it. We'll test it out. Yeah, just like the pitch clock in the bigger bases. We'll test it out. See how it works.
Yeah,
shake the bugs out.
I'm intrigued by that form of technology making the game better. My gut says it's not going to work, but I'm open to it.
Well, that's what makes these conversations interesting.
Right. Yeah. So
let me tell you this. Here's the ultimate. We talked about what would baseball look like in 100 years. Here's what I think it'll look like in 1,000 years. You put the team on a spaceship.
Okay.
You can control gravity. You can change gravity depending on who's hitting and who's pitching. They're moving at near light speed, so when you watch the show, it's playing in fast forward already. Yeah, because of time dilation, right?
Right.
So there you go. You got your fast baseball. You can control gravity. What more would the owners want, really? And the robots playing, by the way. It's robots.
Correct.
It's robots.
Like
players.
it's going to be, how can we pull the humanity out of the game? The humanity is what's ruining the sport.
But that'll be Major League Baseball.
Right. No.
But then there'll be guys playing the game in a different way. Maybe more like the old way. And who knows? At a certain point, Coke Classic starts outselling New Coke. Sometimes it happens quickly. Sometimes it might take 100,000 years.
We're pretty close to Deltron's interpretation of it is the year 3030. We're about 1,000 years. We're closing in on that being only 1,000 years away.
There's a group of guys who play baseball right over there.
This is what I've been told.
I'm pointing in a direction.
Yeah.
3 blocks from my house. They play ball with the old time mitts, with the pinstripes. They play on a field with no fence, and they play every week. They're playing old time baseball, and I go and watch.
Do they have a peanut guy in the stands yet?
No. There's nobody.
Hey, Maltz.
There's no money involved. That's the whole point. No one's making money off this.
Well, I guess I want people to be able to make money off baseball, because it's really cool to have that as a living. It's the thing that rubs me the wrong way is incessant desire for bigger profits. And it seems very fair to me to say, if you're the best at what you do, and that is playing a game, you get paid $5 million, 100 times the average man's salary, to play this game. That doesn't feel uncapitalistic to me. That sounds like one hell of a job.
Right, but you want to limit the amount of money that you can make. So that
the only reason I want
to very anti-capitalist.
Yes, but the only reason I would want to reduce salaries is to give it back to the fans, because if an owner has to make money every year, if they pay their players more, they will have to raise all prices.
Well, or make less money, which inconceivable to them.
Exactly, which they won't do.
They will not do that.
So I believe in capitalism completely, but reasonable capitalism makes more sense to me.
Regulation.
Which goes again. Well,
this is now a show about politics.
Yeah, I guess so.
And classism, really, because the problem with baseball right now is that it is being controlled by a small group of billionaires. And
it's money first. It's not game first. It's
are
money
not
first.
Real people, really, because if you've got that much money, maybe you're normal. I don't think so. I mean, I've touched up against this. We mentioned earlier that season tickets were so expensive. I bought a boat so we could go watch the games in the bay.
Yeah.
And
cheaper beers,
really cheap beers.
BYOB.
Oh yeah, 12-pack of silvers. I mean, you can't go wrong. We had some good times in the bay, man.
I probably have
good times. And you're in it. You can hear the crack of the bat. You're part of the crowd. We would, we did the foghorns. I know that LA fans hated that, and I love that they hated that. And I just
what did they hate?
Burp, 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 doing the foghorns
out in the bay.
But they were just jealous of our, of the game we had going on, right? And that's whatever. It's so expensive to go to the park. It's so expensive to go to the park. And yes, they keep raising prices. look, we actually live in a part of the world where you can get two different kinds of baseball. There's two brands of baseball available to you. You've got the Super Deluxe brand, and you've got the Blue Collar brand. And these are both available to us. Well, not now because there is no baseball, and we don't even know if it will happen this year. We'll find out. But you've talked so much about technology, and I think that I want to separate good technology from bad technology.
Okay.
And I think that there was a moment in baseball, I don't know what year it was, where if people were getting their cell phones out at the game, you would get booed by the people in your section. And it was a very brief moment in time.
Yeah.
And I remember as one of the first guys to ever get a device like that. Like, I was on the forefront of this. Very first guy to get one of these devices, but also understood that when I was at the game, you could get hit in the face with the ball. So I put this thing away. But there was a brief moment in time where if you were on your phone, whatever you want to call it, people would look at you being like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's like, get your head
and then
in the
I
game.
feel like the very next year I showed up to the park, it happened so quickly, but the park embraced. We went from saying, no, put your phone away. This is weird at the ball game, to all of a sudden embracing these devices and setting up Wi-Fi everywhere and like putting up like, hey, take your selfie and put up. I don't understand how we went from no, pay attention to the game, to yes, post everything on Twitter, tell all your friends you're at the game.
I think I got an answer for you.
Money. But I mean, baseball had it.
No, but check
we
it
had
out.
it right the first time.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Like baseball, like everyone in the stands would be like, put your phone away. What are you doing? You're at the game. There was a moment where we had it.
Yeah.
What happened? We lost it.
Here's what happened. You touched on it earlier. You got the old school fan that's going to, air quotes, show up no matter what we do. You got the old school fan. That wasn't attractive. Getting the new people, all the fans out there that didn't understand that keeping your head in the game was important for any reason. Once these new fans got attracted that you can take a picture of yourself and then spread it to other people, I think the sport saw all this potential for new fans entering the game, new fans watching on television, which nobody who's not a huge baseball fan is going to ever sit down and watch a baseball game on television.
That's right.
Ever.
That's right.
Unless it might be on and they'll sit and watch, maybe. But going to find a baseball game, and you're not a big fan, that's not ever going to happen. Ever. But for some reason, people think that it will, that we can kind of manipulate people into mass involvement in this sport. And I don't think there's any chance of that, no matter how much you speed it up.
Well, what if, it's just the World Series was Yankees Red Sox every year?
Just no matter what.
No matter what.
American League versus American League. That's, I mean, yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if people are thinking about such things right now. Like, what's every single thing we can do to eliminate it, to make it its most...
have we talked about resetting the lineup yet?
Most revenue? No.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. I've only heard rumors of this. So what do you know about it?
I have heard this argument made so many times now with guys who talk about baseball and people who talk about baseball. And it's just like, hey, in basketball, at the end of the game,
get it in Jordan's hands.
You got the best guy.
Yeah.
The best guy out there, and that's fun, and you want to watch that. In baseball, you get the bottom of the order up, ninth inning, game's over. Boring. Boring.
Oh, that's a short-sighted
I hear this
view.
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
so what are they going to do to remedy?
Stop comparing baseball to other sports.
What's the remedy for these people? What do they want to do?
So what you get to, the idea is this. There's two ideas. In the 9th or the 10th inning,
okay,
you get to reset the lineup, bat whoever fuck you want. Yeah.
Put it wherever you want.
You play whoever you want.
Okay.
You get your 3 big hitters up at the plate.
Starting the inning off.
Yeah.
Okay.
You start with Ricky Henderson.
Yeah.
Then you got A-Rod.
Yeah.
And then Barry Bonds.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Protected by, yeah.
You're gonna score a run.
Ken Griffey. Hitting fourth.
Let's switch it up. Okay, let's put Brett Butler first, a guy who just can get on base, right? You know, bunt the ball.
I know about Brett
Butler. Put a
Butler.
bunter in there.
Hell yeah.
Throw the pitcher off. Then Ricky
Ex-Dodger
Henderson.
and ex-Giant.
Yeah, exactly. Wonderful ball player. And then Ricky. Then Barry. Let's take A-Rod out of the equation. Fuck that guy. You ever watch him on TV?
I've heard him talk, and there's just something I don't like about him. Like, I saw him as a guest host on Shark Tank, and I'm thinking, okay, let me get this straight. He admitted to using steroids, which helped him create all the statistics and all the money that he compiled in his career. And so he illegally cheated in a sense, but he gets to keep all the money, so much so that I hear him in talks of buying baseball teams and a guest host on Shark Tank. Entrepreneur for building himself in a sport through cheating.
Now, well, yeah.
So I don't like listening to him talk because it's like getting business advice from a guy that aced the business test by cheating. Like, who the fuck cares?
Right.
Oh, you aced the test. You must be really smart. Yeah, sure.
I will always be the guy who fights against this idea
the fairness.
that you're the
fairness police.
I'm the fairness police.
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, whatever. A-Rod, whatever. That's such a big discussion. You got to talk about the deal and how it changed baseball. You got to talk about Boris. I don't know if I'm prepared to go there. I might need another cup of coffee.
That's fine. I could talk about Boris any day of the week. Okay, so you're not being facetious.
And the robot's playing, by the way. It's robots.
It's close enough.
I don't care. What happened? We lost it.
I think I got an answer for you.
I mean, this is real in my mind. Boop, boop, boop.
I just knew there was something inside of me that wasn't agreeing with the way Major League Baseball was handling the sport of baseball.